Dead Space is an action horror game where you face off against, quite comprehensible, body horror monsters that want nothing more than to carve you up. The lights are dim, the resources are limited, and death is but one mistake away. The only friend you truly have is your trusty arsenal of tools you creatively turned into weapons. So of course, we're going to be playing the impossible one life run difficulty and turn this horror game into a haunted house shooting gallery. How fun!
Go ahead, take a step further, Bozo. Okay. I missed. Hey.
Of course, the best place to start is at the start. Chapter 1 introduces us to Isaac, our main character, Hammond, Kendra Daniels, Dead, and me. We are heading towards
the USG Ishimura
to do a simple repair mission. TLDR, our 5-man crew consisting of 3 soldiers, an engineer, and a Facebook employee are sent to fix that. After a successful crash, we board and quickly find that the entire ship has gone to shit. Even worse, there be monsters.
There's something in here.
With Meat dead and Isaac about to become dead meat, we make an escape and discover our first weapon, the plasma cutter.
Where'd your arm go? God.
One of Dead Space's many standouts is the weaponry. They're all incredible and serve a specific purpose besides expunging these things from my vision. The most iconic of these weapons is easily the plasma cutter, and for good reason. It is the universal good answer to any problem. It can kill any enemy in the game with relative ease, and it's even so good at its job that there's an achievement in both the remaster and the original for completing the game with only the plasma cutter. Seriously, there's nothing this thing cannot cut through. Closet Johnny, single moms, infants. Hell, even my friend's homework folder ain't safe from this thing.
Guys, I'm scared. It's the fucking tentacle room. Fuck, I was right!
And I'm oh so sorry, guys, because I made a silly mistake. I showed you the answer before even posing the question. So here we go. How do we kill that? Oh, that was kind of underwhelming. These dashing cadavers are necromorphs. They are a reanimated corpse that has a one-of-us mindset and will try to adorn you in slashes and stabs so you can be besties. Unfortunately, stopping them is not as easy as saying no, and we will have to use more strategic defense measures. Thankfully, necromorphs have a glaring weakness called a health pool. Fun times aside, killing a necromorph is very different from other reanimated bodies in fiction. In most fiction media, to my knowledge, something that's just undead really only needs to be hit a ton or the head needs to be destroyed, honestly. However, this thing is already dead. You can't kill it by destroying its vitals or removing the head. It doesn't even need its brain to control its body. This thing only really needs the muscles and the bones to put an X on your face. So, if you can't kill it, you can at least make sure that it can't be a threat to you.
Okay, really?
It's just like declawing a cat.
Oh, you're a crawler.
Just remove the pesky limbs it could harm you with.
For you, I got just the thing.
Thanks. Lore-wise, it is still very much alive, but incapable of moving, so it is effectively neutralized. During that rant of guns and corpses, I fixed the tram station and set off to go get Dead, who decided now was a great time to live up to their name.
Okay.
And our ship exploded. This is a wonderful workday. Kendra is unable to access the command computer without the password, so we brave the 20-meter walk towards medical to harvest the clearance off of the captain's dead body. However, on our journey we find 2 lovely devices, one of which is a fucking gun. just a gun,
I'll define it.
and it sucks at killing necromorphs unless you use the explosive.
Swapping weapons is faster than reloading.
The real prize here is the Kinesis module, which gives me a good time to talk about that and the Stasis module I skipped over. Stasis and Kinesis are two utility tools that are both able to be used in and out of combat. Stasis traps everything in range of the bubble you shot in a slow-mo guys video. It's great in combat to avoid getting overwhelmed or gaining more precious seconds to line up a shot. Out of combat, it's used for haywire machinery we call puzzles. It is a very simple game. Stasis the thing, or instant death.
This room also sucks. Okay, yeah, okay, good. Insta-kill. Lovely.
Frankly, the machinery scares me more than the necromorphs. Kinesis lets you pick shit up and chuck it.
Take it back.
In combat, it's pretty useful to throw explosives, sharp objects, or whatever the hell you feel like at the baddies. Out of combat, it is also used for machinery puzzles or batteries.
I'll read that in a moment. I'm busy balling.
But also has the added bonus of letting you pick up any item you want from afar. Short mechanics ran over, I made it to medical, find a barrier,
You think a barrier will work?
do a fetch quest to find a barrier buster, and make it to the captain.
Okay.
An infector interrupts my grave robbing, and after a few seconds of passion, I fulfill my dream of hitting a man with a fire extinguisher. With the codes finally collected, we have access to level 1 clearance.
You're not wrong.
Damn, that was a low-ranking captain.
So,
We are informed by Hammond that the USG Ishimura's engines are in fact offline, and that means our orbit is decaying. So we're gonna crash into the planet. You know, unless an engineer does something about it. By now you've probably noticed the gameplay loop.
Standing by. Fast as you can, Isaac.
Isaac.
It's
Isaac.
48.
Isaac. Isaac.
Isaac, we have a problem.
The game's grade A immersion, besides the lack of a user interface and incredible audio design, is to make you really feel like an engineer by forcing you to fix all of the broken bits on the ship. Maybe it's just my enjoyment of dismemberment and violence, but these chores never got too repetitive that I stopped enjoying playing the game. I personally think that the levels and problems are diverse enough, simple enough, and enough dead bodies are thrown in the way to keep these fix-it-Felix missions from becoming too boring.
we've established this. I play stupid for the hell of it. I can't turn it off. I wish I could.
With the engines fixed and a drag tentacle killed,
Oh, thank you.
I am sent to fix another broken ship part that prevents asteroids from Swiss cheesing the ship,
Color. And all space horror boils down to Among Us.
during which we rendezvous with Hammond, eject necro meat into space, and meet the brute.
I don't have stasis.
It's a good time to know I have never fought these things without stasis, and I had no clue what I could do besides desperate flaming. This was a result of my poor resource and inventory management, which is another minor mechanic to juggle. You have a limited inventory in the game, and as such need to make sure everything you have fits while also having enough to work. Thankfully, the constant assault you will be under by dead bodies will make sure there is no shortage of times to expend your ammunition. Your attackers are even kind enough to restore some of the resources that you spent. Even better, whenever your health is low, the likelihood of finding healing items is much higher. This kindness extends even further and lets you increase your inventory capacity every few in-game chapters, assuming you find the appropriate blueprints for the store. Speaking of, the store is exactly as the name implies. You can buy shit, sell shit, and upgrade your suit. Moving on, we have the ADS cannon section, which is also a good time to bring up the zero-gravity sections. Essentially, you get to float around and use whatever the fuck that propulsion system is to position yourself inside of the zero-G areas with an insane amount of freedom. In some of the zero-G areas, you will have a limited amount of time before you die, as the area has no breathable air, and your suit has a limited supply of breathable air. Anywho, after a more engaging and cool spacewalk than in the original, Isaac fixes the ADS cannon calibration, and Kendra, instead of throwing another broken tool our way, shows Isaac something that he actually wants to see.
Down there?
See what you make of it.
This is Senior Medical Officer Nicole Brennan.
That is Nicole, Isaac's love interest, and is one of the main reasons he's even here on the mission in the first place. The message we received tells us that Medical, the place that was crawling with necromorphs just like the rest of the ship, is a safe haven and all survivors should gather there for tea and crumpets. Naturally, on arrival, we find out that the message was not a real broadcast, but in fact a recording to lure the unsuspecting British to their dooms.
My girlfriend isn't real. Damn.
The message was instead broadcasted by this asshole, Dr. Mercer. This guy I really want to shoot is a unitologist, a religion that believes human life was seeded by aliens, and one day humanity will all be united as one. These people also are obsessed with an ancient alien artifact called the Marker. Well, one of these markers was found on the planet below, and is believed to be what caused the necromorph outbreak we are currently surviving. This crazy lunatic believes that the necromorphs are a part of God's plan, and through them, we will all unite in convergence. However, since convergence has yet to happen, he is quite sad and is biding his time until convergence, like I bide my time waiting for gacha game banner drops by killing video game characters for fun and being the most insufferable man to be around. Blow it up aside, now he wants to kill
don't like it. Oh my fucking god, he's red!
Meet the Hunter.
No, no, no. Fuck.
And like most things named Hunter, it has a lust for violence and plot armor. This little bastard regenerates lost limbs, effectively making him immortal. The rest of the chapter is a game of cat and mouse as we do a whole one task while being hunted by undead Mr. X.
I don't care, bye nerd.
Thankfully, despite the Hunter's plot armor, Isaac has a little more, and we conveniently get attacked by him in the one room where we can freeze his ass and leave him to rot. Unfortunately, Mercer reveals that the air in a section of the ship known as Hydroponics is becoming deadly to creatures that like breathing, and now we must fix it as breathing is one of my favorite pastimes.
Oh, how durable are your knees?
Once we get there, we meet another character I'ma call Science Girl because I forgot her name during script writing. Science Girl explains to us that there is a fat-ass necromorph in the food storage that ate all the food and is turning it into bad fart air to kill us and all the remaining survivors. Unfortunately, its obesity didn't give it health problems, but instead made it too strong for anyone to kill normally. So we journey into the fart chambers and syringe these chain smokers as they are symbiotically attached to the fat necromorph and can be used to weaken him. Despite my joking and speedrunning of this section, the lore of these poor souls is actually kinda fucking haunting.
I don't know how much gas they took in. I just saw them change. That crack when their lungs burst out like flowers.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, with the fatty weakened and a lethal dissolvent administered, it doesn't die, and instead just gets kinda irritated. While Science Girl has a breakdown at the hopelessness of the situation, Isaac decides now is the time to go from engineer to exterminator and fucking fights it.
Yeah, we'll be fine. Dumb.
Hey yo, who's gonna go like...
Now is an important time to mention Isaac's weight is only around 255 pounds with his armored rig suit on, despite the massive size of his ever-growing balls.
That was my fault.
Isaac is a fucking mad lad. That fight was thankfully pretty easy because upgrades are busted. Your guns all start out very nice and cool, but since Isaac's a proud engineer, we can DIY shove power nodes in the magazine slot and have a wide range of effects, like more ricochet, incendiary plasma cutter, a fucking black hole, more damage, more health, and other minor increases to help keep us in the action horror armchair. Anywho, Science Girl says some cringe shit before telling Isaac about her boyfriend's most recent pet project they call an SOS beacon. Isaac then ventures to chapter Why the fuck does this feel like it takes forever? As we go down an elevator, go up an elevator, press a console, it didn't work, we need a higher clearance, go down an elevator. Go up an elevator, puzzle, shoot, gain clearance. Go down an elevator, go back up an elevator, press the console, it's fucking broken. Elevator, steal a battery for another elevator. Puzzle, fuck this machine. Puzzle, elevator, battery theft, elevator,
Singular shot?
different console. And there we go. We finally launched an SOS beacon. And after that, we find our hunter has finally thawed out. My immersion then hits a new level as I continue to run from the consequences.
Oh shit.
The escape is honestly a nice moment of victory before Kendra realizes that the Ishimura has a terrible phone plan, and unless we fix it, we are not going to be receiving a message. So, we make our way through backtracking but different.mp4 and fix the phone plan. Upon doing so, we are met with a heartwarming message that the USM Valor has not only answered our distress signal, but also kindly picked up our escape pod. Escape pod? Escape pod. Unfortunately, we are unable to respond with the skull emoji because some fat ass is blocking the antenna. Oh, you motherfucker. That's it. Round 2.
Ah, I see. You'll do it yourself. Thanks, buddy.
Now then, let's extend that antenna and warn the Valor of... Ah shit, well, looks like they already know. Turns out Necromeat already made it on board, made some new friends, and now wants to show them off. Hell, even with his untimely death and necromorphification, that man still knows how to successfully crash a ship. Hammond and Kendra are both quite displeased with the situation, but work together with Isaac to hatch a lovely plan. You see, in a part of the ship we haven't visited, there's a shuttle, but it has no singularity core. Basically, spaceship car battery. However, the USM Valor may have an intact singularity core that we can use. So, the plan is to board the ship, steal the battery, and fly away in a small personal shuttle. To break it down further, we are basically taking the steam engines out of the Titanic and putting it into my fucking rowboat. Anywho, we board, fight the ADHD zombie,
Is it dodging my bullet?
and discover a nuclear warhead. Fuck this room aside, it turns out the USM Valor was on course to nuke the USG Ishimura, as it was an illegal mining operation and also necromorphs. Necromeat is a homie for preventing that, but he's still a dick. We make it to the core, watch Hammond's dementia get worse and worse, then see him snap back to reality and live out his dream of becoming paint. Then everything starts to explode. Thankfully, Isaac has already had enough experience and practice blowing himself up that this was not fatal.
I was abso-fucking-lutely dreading.
That explosive was a paid actor.
Oh, noted.
With the singularity core obtained, we
Alright,
venture towards the
and
living
now-
area of the ship, and holy necromorph, there was a lot of dead people. One of them, when I get my fucking hands on him, is our loyal annoyance, Dr. Mercer. He rants about religion, kills an innocent man in slow-mo, and sticks Hunter on us again.
What the fuck?
We must then escape into the safety of other people's houses and destroy the walls of flesh to reach the escape shuttle. Before we complete that objective, we are met with the local lunatic who convinces us that placing the marker on a pedestal on the infested planet will put an end to all of this. Installing the singularity core prompts us to test fire and make sure the engine is nice and... Oh. That's an idea. And that is how you kill an immortal.
Wait, what?
Oh, not a fuck again.
No, 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 no.
Truthfully, that was the scariest part of the run. Because nothing ever goes smoothly for us, the marker was grabbed by a tentacle, and we must play the employee getting objects out of storage to help board it onto the shuttle. That is unironically the entirety of Chapter 12 gameplay-wise. Of course, after putting away the marker on the ship, we are betrayed by Kendra and given another lore dump expose. The marker that was found on the planet was not a real marker and is instead a fake man-made replica. This replica was brought on the planet and tested to the horrific results of basically the same shit we are going through. In response to the nightmares the government released by testing this, they made the entire area illegal and said good enough. As such, the USG Ishimura's poking around was not liked by the government, so they decided to get Kendra on Hammond's team for the repair mission in hopes that their lovely covert operative would get the marker back into the definite safe hands of the government. Thankfully, Isaac's girlfriend, yeah she's here now, is stronger than Kendra's betrayal, and we remote pilot the shuttle back to the hangar for our own use. We finally made it to the home stretch and get to arrive on the planet. However, this chapter is a whole lot of playing the moving the marker around slowly game while being given the final puzzles and waves of necromorphs to deal with. It's quite satisfying in all honesty. We start out being quite limited in ways of dismemberment or resources in self-defense, but by this point, you are effectively the Doomslayer of the Dead Space universe. Isaac is even having a lovely
Just
time
like
talking with
100
Nicole
bucks.
and getting ready to have stopped this entire thing with no continuation or issues whatsoever. Now is probably a fun time to mention that the contact beam, one of the guns you get, is too damn good at killing shit. It's not long before we finally put the marker on the pedestal and get a migraine injected directly into my head.
Oh, my head. Oh, the migraine machine is active.
One interaction to buy time from the falling space debris
Rerouting
later,
direct-
and we are behind a glass door, and Kendra has Isaac's girl. One twist later, and our schizophrenia wears off. That's right, Nicole is dead. Instead, we were stopping the necromorph outbreak with Science Girl.
Oh,
Kendra shoots Science Girl and closes the door
far
on us,
more
so...
firepower than you.
Game? You're shitting me. This is a part of the run that did kind of break me a little bit. I had just spent the past 6 hours getting through the more painful parts of the run, and were mere moments from the final fight and end credits. Now, the worst part is, I have a confession to make. Impossible mode has 3 conditions to its completion. You have the effective stats of hard difficulty. You have 1 life. You die, it's over. Save deleted. And you have 1 save slot. What absolute dumbass tomfoolery me didn't realize was that that 1 save slot is reusable. I thought it was 1 save. As such, my last save was 6 hours ago, right after the first kill of Fat Ass in Hydroponics. This means if I truly wanted to complete my run and give this shit a satisfying end, I must redo everything that I already did because my game shit itself, and as I said, this broke me a little bit.
Honestly, I should.
But no way in hell did I let it stop.
Same thing.
The antenna.
Say, hallucinate. It is Zion. In case that we'll talk about.
All that rock is approach. I'm playing video games.
Okay, we are back, and my sanity may have taken a hit from the repeat. We're given one last final chance to upgrade gear or buy shit from the store before we end this once and for all.
Last warning, Isaac. I'm
You have a gun, I have reinforced armor, and I have more guns, and a rifle, and stasis, and kinesis, and balls. I feel like I'm far better equipped than you are. Bye-bye, Daniels. I won't miss you.
Final note on Isaac's badassery is his response to seeing an eldritch horror tentacle flesh monster after an entire day of fighting reanimated cadavers.
I see. Oh shit, he do. Fuck, I'm not landing it. No. Shit, that actually scared me. Fuck, scared me.
That, my friends, is Dead Space and my impossible run completed. Ladies and gentlemen, we got it. I really love this game. I've played both the original Dead Spaces 1 and 2, so hearing about this remake way back when it was announced, just out of the blue, got me really excited and afraid. Everyone knows the stigma around remakes, and hearing that this was going to be made by EA, the same people who offed Visceral Games, the original makers of Dead Space 1, kinda scared everyone off. But there was hope, and I'm happy to say that this is a very good remake. The new speaking role Isaac has, since in the first game he had no voice, helps him feel better as a character, even if it does hurt the Silent Shoes horror that a lot of old games did. It allowed Isaac to feel a lot more there, and like a smart person who was actually making plans instead of just the errand boy. Of course, I can still see where the remake underperforms with it. To name a few minor ones, the animation for escaping at the start is better in the original. The sound effects of the hive mind just feel nicer, more haunting. And even Isaac's own sound effects feel much better in the original, namely, screams. The biggest change I see between the original and the remake is a pretty major update for the combat of the game that was actually what made Dead Space 2 stray further and further from being horror-oriented. You are too damn good at killing. In the original Dead Space 2008, Isaac's movement felt minorly funky. His stomps were weightier and slower. His swings were weaker, more frail, and pathetic. Kinesis was also much less effective as a weapon, as it didn't automatically make any minorly sharp object fucking the Limb Severer 8000. Now, in the remake, you have the foot of God in the hand of a drunken stepfather. It could also just be me misremembering things. Just to clarify again, I do think that the remake is very good. It has all the iconics of the original, with many new things added on, such as a more roamable map, side quest, a whole new ending in New Game Plus. The developers even added lore that was made in Dead Space 2 and 3, and implemented important details hinting to it in this game. We even have the Foam Finger, a weapon so powerful it bends reality by turning your newly developed Schitzophrenia into a lethal one-shot instant kill with infinite ammo. If I had to choose between recommending the original to someone or the remake, I would pick the remake. But I still firmly believe that the original deserves plenty of love and recognition for what it did at the time, and just how good it was. Okay, that about settles it. Bye-bye. I lied, one more thing, but I'll try to make it quick. Immense thanks to anyone who trucked through this mess, and many more thanks to anyone who did that while also helping me reach, as of the moment of recording, 258 subscribers from like 80 in a few weeks. Seriously, that shit took me by surprise, and I don't think I'll be growing that fast again, but feel free to prove me wrong. Y'all are amazing. For the few that are interested, I do stream this and anything else I make a video on Kick somewhat regularly. But to thank you and plug over, y'all have a good day, drink some water, have a cold pillow, and there's someone in your wall.